Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. Ministry of Education bans school registration fees. Government to push for initiatives to help non-oil and gas companies thrive. And the TNT's Soca Warriors get ready for the next match against Haiti in the Gold Cup. Welcome in our top story. Parents of students who wrote the SE examination and who are now registering at secondary schools are being told to report any school that imposes a registration fee. The Ministry of Education says such action is illegal and will result in disciplinary action.
Minister of Education, Dr. The Honorable Tim Gopi-Singh, is warning secondary schools against imposing a registration fee for new Form 1 students. Speaking to reporters on Wednesday, following a meeting with secondary school principals held at the Rudranath Kapildeo Learning Resource Center, Minister Gopi-Singh said there has been an abuse of the system. He said this issue greatly affects parents who are socio-economically deprived when they are forced to pay exorbitant fees at the time of registration.
$750 to $1.5 million, the principal of the school is given government schools on a yearly basis, and I gave them the figures just a while ago, and therefore the poor parent should not have to pay any money whatsoever for their child to be admitted into their school. And we want to make that publicly known to all parents. Anybody who is experiencing difficulty must report that immediately to the Ministry of Education so that action can be taken, because the Chief Education Officer has sent out that memo on 3 occasions already to ensure that that abuse does not take place in the future.
Minister Gopi-Singh said his government, and the country by extension, prides itself by saying a free education system exists in Trinidad and Tobago. He said as such, no system should be implemented by anyone whatsoever to deprive students from lower socio-economic backgrounds from receiving an education because of exorbitant registration fees implemented in an arbitrary and unacceptable manner. The Education Minister noted that numerous secondary schools do not fully utilize the budgetary allocation given to it, and as such, the money is returned to the consolidated fund. In such an instance, Dr. Gopi-Singh could not comprehend why a registration fee is charged.
Because that is an allocation that is supposed to be given for the maintenance of their schools, everything that is supposed to do with the management, and they have the ability to utilize their funding in an appropriate manner.
Meanwhile, the minister spoke of the lack of improvements to physical infrastructure at many schools.
A lot of the schools' environmental situation leave a lot to be desired. And schools go through from year to year without the principals doing any painting or ensuring cleaning up of the environment, removal of debris from the schools. We have given them the authority to utilize up to 100,000 maximum from their budgetary allocation once the tendering processes have been clean, and which we will, at the Ministry of Education, the Permanent Secretary on the Exchequer Act and the audit system, will ensure that the process is clean. They should go ahead and have their environment clean and the school repainted and so on in different blocks over a 2 to 3 year period.
The minister said the principals have the ability to utilize the funds to carry out projects at the schools, but yet the ministry is bombarded by requests for upgrades and materials. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
The United Nations is celebrating World Population Day 2013 on July 11th. This year's focus is on adolescent pregnancy, which affects millions around the world each year. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, views education as the answer to the phenomenon of teenage pregnancy. To address these problems, he pointed out primary school education for girls, as well as enabling them to receive a good education through their adolescence. The Secretary General also suggests that all adolescents must be provided with age-appropriate comprehensive education on sexuality, and this is especially important to empowering young women to decide when and if they wish to become mothers. The Secretary General urges persons to pledge their support for the adolescent girls to realize their potential and contribute to our shared future. And in other news, Minister of Trade and Industry Vasant Bharat and his ministerial team paid a visit to the Candy Land or Candy City, Casey Confectionery in Couva. The minister says the tour is just one of a start of many more to come.
Minister Bharat says there have been a number of talks about diversification of the economy away from oil and gas in Trinidad and Tobago. He believes that not much meaningful work has been done over the years apart from speaking about it. However, he says it is quite obvious that many of the manufacturing organizations can be competitive on global markets. Thus, he says there can be no better example than Casey Confectionery, who has been exporting their products to a number of countries around the world.
Let me add that Casey Confectionery was one of those companies that participated and exhibited in the New York Fancy Food Fair last week. And I think when you get the opportunity to speak with them, they will tell you that it was a roaring success, not just for themselves, but for the other participants at the show. And one of the things that we did differently this year was that it was a far more organized, far more structured, far more professionally put together exhibition.
Casey was able to secure an order with an international buyer. Casey also got a lot of leads in terms of distributors for their line of products.
We highlighted Trinidad and Tobago, the benefits of coming to Trinidad and Tobago. And let me just put on record that the exhibitors displayed a high degree of professionalism, and Casey was at the forefront of that. And I'm certain that it would have been a very successful trip.
The minister says there have been many more companies in Trinidad and Tobago that have the ability to be as successful as Casey, not necessarily in the same field, but in other areas in the right environment. This is one of the reasons, he says, they have taken the initiative to start touring several organizations.
I've also at the same time refocused and repositioned a company called Export TT, which was the old business development company, to focus primarily on organizations like Export TT, like Casey, and other companies who are either on the cusp of being able to export their products or who are already exporting their products but want new markets, who are looking at development of new products and so on. And Export TT will be focused specifically on that.
Minister Bharat says his ministry will also be creating a number of modules to allow for organizations to thrive within Trinidad and Tobago. He says you've got to be first competitive in your home nation before making it elsewhere. Casey Confectionery Limited began in 1922 as a cottage industry and has diversified and expanded today to a fast-paced, people-driven company that is foremost in technology and innovation. The family-run company developed into a factory in 1957 and became automated by the early 1990s. At present, Casey exports products to all of the CARICOM countries, the United States of America, Canada, Netherlands, Antilles, and the United Kingdom. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Up next, honoring TNT's winning culinary team. Stay with us. Welcome back. Tourism Minister Stephen Cadiz honored the winning culinary team after they came home with over 8 awards from the annual Taste of the Caribbean Competition 2013. Chefs from some of this country's most prominent hotels and culinary institutions received awards for their mouth-watering creations and festive cocktails depicting true Caribbean flavors.
The Trinidad and Tobago national culinary team were honored for topping the Taste of the Caribbean Competition 2013. The local chefs brought home over 8 awards for their participation in several of the categories, toppling more than 11 of their Caribbean counterparts at a prestigious Taste of the Caribbean culinary competition held at the Hyatt Regency in Miami last month. While members of the team comprise of mainly young persons who have made the culinary arts their passion, Tourism Minister Stephen Cadiz, in commending them for representing Trinidad and Tobago, announced plans to offer scholarships to several of the winners at top hotels in Denmark.
On behalf of the Ministry of Tourism, on behalf of the TDC, and all of us in the hospitality industry, to really and truly honor a wonderful team, a wonderful young team going and flying the flag for Trinidad and Tobago. This year also, for this current year, we will be doing 4 internships, and we have asked the Hospitality Institute to do the selection for us. 4 internships at Klaus Meyer's restaurant in Denmark, which is a Michelin-starred restaurant. And the deal there is we pay, and the Ministry of Tourism is backing this, by the way. We pay for, I think, a 2-month internship, and for any of the 4 or all 4 that pass muster, if they are successful during that 2-month internship, he will now take over that for 1 year, and the interns will work and be paid by Klaus Meyer for a 1-year period in Denmark.
In recognizing their winnings, a special cocktail event was held to honor the participants. Tourism Minister Stephen Cadiz, in congratulating the team and celebrating their victory, urged them to keep up the creativity.
We have to move further afield. There's something else out there that we need to go after, and I really and truly want to see Trinidad and Tobago just beat the world. That is what we want to do. We want to show the world that the talent that we have in this country, this 1.3 million people, that the talent that we have in this country is unsurpassed. We can be the best as anybody else.
The minister says the quality of culinary brilliance and innovation represented by Trinidad and Tobago is good enough to take this country's name to higher fronts.
I am going to say tonight and commit tonight at least to look very, very seriously at the possibility of Trinidad and Tobago going to the Olympics, the Culinary Olympics. And I think if we were able to succeed and to qualify and to be there, I think that would really and truly put us on the map as a place for the culinary arts.
The annual event is sponsored by the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, included competitions among culinary teams, bartenders, pastry chefs, and individual chefs, while depicting foods unique to the Caribbean. Trinidad and Tobago received a taste of the island's best team for the best street food and drink presentation. This year, the TNT team brought home honors, including Caribbean Junior Chef of the Year, a gold medal in Caribbean Team Competition, and Best Vodka Drink. Many of the participants currently work at prominent hotels here at home, including the Hilton Trinidad, Courtyard by Marriott, and the Hyatt Regency Hotel. Clinton Ramdan from the TNT Air Guard took the gold medal in the bartender competition and Best Vodka Drink, while Junior Chef of the Year and gold medalist Naomi Lovell is part of the team at the TNT Hospitality Tourism Institute. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Minister of the People and Social Development, Dr. the Honorable Glenn Ramadasing, has held an interfaith service as part of the celebrations of the month of Ramadan. The minister called on members of different faiths to his constituency office to pray and reflect.
It is such a wonderful thing that today finds all the officers in this ministry and constituency, in this constituency office, welded together, shoulder to shoulder, in prayerful thought and service.
Members of the Islamic faith, the Christian faith, and the Hindu faith all came together in prayer and song as Minister Ramadasing hosted an interfaith service at his Caroni Central constituency office. Minister Ramadasing believes prayer is necessary if his ministry's work is to continue to blossom and reap benefits, particularly in his constituency.
One of the reasons why we are having this interreligious prayer over the last 3 days is that our own office is involved in several things. Involved in representing our own constituency. We are keeping the work of the Ministry of the People alive and in action.
The Caroni Central MP says the service provides an opportunity for the hard-working employees of the Ministry of the People to be reinvigorated. He adds that given the diversity of his constituency and the ministry's staff, it was only fair to incorporate all religions into the service.
That we had so much work going on that to fuel the type of work that we are doing, it is important to have that reinvigoration of the spirit and soul and body. And we felt that we would have wanted to have lunch with our Islamic brothers and sisters. And so we did invite a team to come in and have a little prayer before they started the Ramadan. And so we said we'll do the Hindu prayer on Monday, and today we have the Christian, and we also have the Baptist here today. It's a very spiritual session for the staff who work long hours, who are out there in the field, in Caroni Central, in the Ministry of the People.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Up next, Wayne Cunningham reporting on the Soca Warriors before their games versus Haiti in Miami in our Sport Report. Welcome back. Trinidad and Tobago's draw versus El Salvador in the CONCACAF Gold Cup was not the ideal result ahead of a tricky Haitian team, which the Warriors will face on Friday at the Sun Life Stadium in Miami. But according to the goal scorers from that opening clash, it gives them nothing but confidence ahead of the important.
News 4 Sports at the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Courtesy the Ministry of Sports and the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago's Kenman Jones, who campaigns for Stoke City in the English Premiership, has been a man highly criticized for his performances in national colours. But in Game 1 of the Soca Warriors Gold Cup opener, he capped off a battling performance with a brilliant equalizing goal to give his team its first point of the tournament. On the team's arrival in Miami for Game 2 versus Haiti, Jones reflected on what the performance did to raise the confidence in the camp.
I was basically happy for the start we had. I think within the team ourselves, we were a little bit disappointed that we didn't win the game because we know we had more. Maybe it was down to nerves. I mean, you know, for being the first game of the tournament, but at the end we were just happy to, you know, at least come away to a point. We know we have, you know, some things to work on, some things to improve, and, you know, basically get that belief within the squad, because I think it's more than anything else, it's just a lack of belief in ourselves that, you know, that showed up in parts of that game last night.
There are some positives going forward, according to the big striker.
Yeah, of course, we have a lot of positives. I think, you know, we did a lot of things well in that game, and I guess the public can see it, you know, and we feel proud about it. We've been working for the last, well, under the new coach, the last two and a half, 3 weeks or whatever it is. And, you know, we've come leaps and bounds in the way that we want to play. So, you know, hopefully, you know, we have a few days before the next game. Hopefully we could take all of that in stride.
Keon Daniel was the scorer of TNT's opening goal versus the Central Americans on Monday. Indicated that the team is eager for success despite the naysayers.
Great. I was longing for this. For the longest while, we haven't been in a tournament like this. And I think that was a great start for us. You know, for me, that's just showing the hard work that I've been doing over the years. It's paying off. It's great for us. I think we played well. We work hard. You know, we coming together. It's been a while. You know, guys haven't played with each other. So we try to gel, and I think it showed in the second half when guys, you know, turned their football up and it worked hard. It looked good for us. Yeah, for me it's great. You know, I wouldn't say it's critics. I would just, you know, do what I got to do. I don't study, you know, the media and stuff. I just try to, whenever I put on the colors for Trinidad and Tobago, I do my best. For sure, I think once we continue the momentum that we had in the second half, you know, the way we played and moved the ball well, I think we'll get a good result.
John Michael Williams made his 50th appearance for Trinidad and Tobago on Monday. And what an appearance it was, as he made some blinding saves to keep his team in the match.
It was just an opportunity for me. I used the game
the opportunity just came up, and I was just trying my best to help to conserve or to reserve the point for the team. Well, I don't think we can take Haiti lightly because I don't think we've beaten them in some time. We looked at some of the footage from their game as well, and they played pretty well as well. And knowing if they lose the game, they would be out of the competition. I think there's an opportunity for us as well to go forward and to progress to the quarterfinal stage if we do come out with a positive result and win. So we know the game is going to be difficult. It's just an opportunity for us to try to go to the next level and to go to the next round, and that's what we'll be doing.
The Warriors are set to take on the high-octane offense of Haiti with the likes of Lionel St-Pirou and Joseph Peterson, but they will be buoyed by the fact that a victory will take us into the next round. I'm Wayne Cunningham, reporting from the Gold Cup in the United States for News 4 Sports.
News 4 Sports at the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Courtesy the Ministry of Sports and the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you, Wayne Cunningham. More news after the break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The naval support ship RFA Wave Knight visited these shores. The ship, which operates as part of the UK Defence Force, paid the visit as part of its year-round commitment to the region in support of humanitarian aid and disaster relief, HADR, and counter-narcotics operations.
The UK's Royal Fleet Auxiliary Naval Support Ship RFA Wave Knight docked at Port of Spain port for a 7-day visit as part of its deployment to the Caribbean. The voyage comes as part of the UK's annual commitment to lending support to overseas territories and disaster relief and counter-narcotics operations. Students were invited to visit the ship and its operations, while crew members provided tours and taught students more about the tanker, which was commissioned in 2000 as part of the RFA. The Wave Knight is a 31,500-ton fleet tanker able to operate in support of amphibious forces, anti-surface and anti-submarine warfare operations, and protection of vital sea areas and shipping. It also has the capability to deliver fuel through an RAS replenishment at sea rig, either port, starboard or astern to other vessels. Owned by the UK's Ministry of Defence, it is manned by British civilian sailors who are trained to merchant navy standards prior to undertaking the military training required to operate alongside the Royal Navy. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
And that story brings us to the end of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thanks for watching.